Back again to the lakeside, venue of legends, and tonight it really is. Eric Bristow, Jockey Wilson, Phil the Power Taylor. Loose-fitting shirts, concealing bodies built for stability. But there's a new kid on the block, Rod Harrington, slimmer than the rest, and so smartly dressed that he takes to the hockey wearing a tie. A tie, for God's sake! Never had the world of professional darts seen such a thing. Under the searing spotlights of the lakeside stage stood a man playing darts in a tie. And the great Sid Waddell, commentator and wordsmith supreme, immediately christened him the man who dresses like an accountant. He could equally have been the man who dresses like an estate agent or a solicitor or a civil servant, but an accountant it was, because Sid's word was law. We witnessed a tremendous night of tip-top tungsten, every match thrillingly close, but so lengthy that by now the pubs would all be closed. This was a matter of grave concern. After all, we'd only been drinking for 6 hours and we could still walk without falling over. That would never do. Camberley's nightlife was almost non-existent, much like its day life. But we recalled seeing in the lobby of our tawdry hotel a poster advertising a nightclub in the basement. Nightclubs are not our natural habitat, but it was that or nothing, and we weren't in the mood for nothing. And in the taxi back to our hotel, still thrilled to have witnessed in the flesh the man who dresses like an accountant, we have a moment of inspiration. If we do have to go to a nightclub, we shall be the men who dance like accountants. Obviously, this will require highly sophisticated choreography, but we've met a few accountants in our time, and we reckon we're up to the task. We return to our rooms, change back into our suits and ties, and make our way down to the basement to find a venue where the men are dressed to kill, literally, but still look like pussycats compared with most of the women. Welcome to Murder Central, where it would clearly make sense to keep a low profile, ideally no profile at all, but we've come here to dance like accountants, and dance like accountants is what we shall do. We sidle on to the deserted dance floor to begin our expertly crafted routine, left arm straight down by our side as if clutching a briefcase, right arm bent upwards from the elbow as if carrying an umbrella, and with expressionless faces devoid of emotion, a delightfully authentic accountant-like touch, we shuffle from side to side. Completely out of time with the music. As the next track starts, we decide to give ourselves more freedom of movement by placing our imaginary briefcases on the floor and proceeding to dance around them. We think we're absolutely fucking hilarious, a sentiment evidently not shared by the bloodthirsty savages on the perimeter of the dance floor, who watch our every move with scowling contempt. Amongst this grisly assortment of Surrey's most wanted is a small group of girls who look quite normal. They're young, attractive, have obviously taken a wrong turning, and to our immense surprise, they come to join us on the dance floor. "What are you doing?" one of them inquires. "Dancing like accountants," I say, rather disappointed that she even needed to ask. "Oh," she says, "are you famous?" "No," I reply, "we're just a bunch of dickheads." Rather than deterring her, she becomes more animated and chatty and even smiles at me, and I make a mental note that "we're just a bunch of dickheads" is a surprisingly effective chat-up line, whilst taking care to ensure that our interaction doesn't extend beyond polite conversation, ever mindful of the horde of homicidal maniacs just waiting to intervene and kick the shit out of us. Sure enough, 2 men of brutal demeanour suddenly approach, and we take a deep breath until we notice their yellow armbands bearing the word security. They instruct us to take our jackets off, and I'm minded to ask, "Pray tell, dear fellow, but where exactly in this esteemed establishment does it state that dancing like accountants is prohibited?" But I think better of it, and we do as we're told without asking why. Maybe they crave a better look at our manly physiques, or wish to revel in the sinuous quality of our snake-hip moves. but more likely they fear that we're carrying firearms or other weapons of extreme violence in our inside jacket pockets, for this is the world we've trespassed into. Shorn of our jackets, we're no longer quite so obviously men who dance like accountants, and our mysterious exotic allure evaporates. The girls return to their halves of lager, giving us the opportunity to bring our performance to a conclusion and disappear into the ether quickly. Almost 30 years on, we still struggle to comprehend how four men who'd have to be dragged screaming onto the dance floor at their own weddings voluntarily started the dancing at a venue where grievous bodily harm was a way of life. And yet somehow we lived to tell the tale of the night we danced like accountants. But please kids, don't try this at home.